Welcome to DOS Geek. So I get the question a lot, what router should I put in my home? A lot of people now are working from home. They need reliable connections. In my case, not only do I work from home, but I also do YouTube videos and live streaming. I also have a family, so I have over 30 devices connected to my network at all times. I need a router that has the latest technologies like Triband Wi-Fi 6 and the ability to reach all the square footage in all the different pockets of my home. And I've been playing recently with the AmpliFi Alien from Ubiquiti. Now, Ubiquiti is a very trusted company out there. They generally have or are known for their equipment for small, medium, large size businesses and things out there. If you see a business out there that has connectivity in their office building, a lot of times it's going to be Ubiquiti equipment in there. But they've made an entry into the home market with this AmpliFi Alien system. And they also have the ability to mesh this system. So I have the mesh one in my home, which can cover over 6,000 square feet. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you how it's been the last few months with this device. And it's quite expensive, but it does give you that Apple-like experience and feel in there. There's some really neat technology they packed into this, and ask the question, is this device worth the price of entry? That's what we're going to get into right now. So I always like to start with what the manufacturers have to say about their own device, and then we will get into my own personal experience with it. And I'll explain some of my experiences along the way as well. So this is a beautiful device, as you can see. It's very easy to set up. It's got a touch screen interface built into this. When I say you get that Apple-like experience, setting this thing up can take less than a few minutes utilizing an app on your phone, and you just go through the prompts. It's going to walk you through everything you need to do and set itself up. As far as ease of setup, they have absolutely nailed it. And as far as the looks of this device, it is gorgeous looking. It's the best looking router by far that I've ever put in my home. Now, I do like the kind of stealthy F-22 looking Netgear Nighthawk in there, but when you look at all the interface and the digital screen LCD that's displaying all your stats real time, it really does immediately make you want to love this device right off the bat. Now, if you go with just the single unit and not the mesh unit, you're looking about $379 for this, which sounds really expensive until you look at the new recent Wi-Fi 6 Orbi setup, which can run anywhere from $900 to $1,400 for their mesh setup. This is $379. So if you have less than 3,000 square feet to cover, this is a good device for you. If you get their additional mesh system, which runs between $700 and $800, so they're going to give you another one of these that you can put up, and it's going to create a mesh network through it, but it doesn't have the LCD screen in the combo pack, although you could buy two digital ones if you wanted. But in the combo pack that runs about $700, you're not going to have, the second one won't have a digital screen on it. I'll show you pictures and video footage of that, but you're going to be able to cover around 6,000 square feet in that case. So you've got Wi-Fi 6, you've got a scalable mesh system, you've got true gigabit mesh, 8x8 super antenna system, 1 minute setup. I would say that's very accurate, maybe more than a minute unless you've done one of these before. But if you've done one before, it probably would take about a minute to get this in. So you've got Triband Wi-Fi 6 router, talks about its polished performance and capacity. One of the things that I like is on the second unit, even though it doesn't have a digital screen, it has a little 5 dots LCD at the bottom. And those little lights will tell you whether you have a good connection to the other router that you're meshing with or a poor connection. So if you have all 5 dots lit up, you've got a great connection. If you only have 1 dot, then maybe you need to move that mesh somewhere else where it's a little closer to the home base there. They talk about the screen, of course, that's touch control and haptics. I don't really use it that much. It is neat to be able to see all the devices connected. But in my case, I've actually mounted this with a 3D printed mount, which I'll have down below in the description, downstairs. And so it's mounted on the ceiling, actually. Now, there is no mount equipment made for this. So I 3D printed my own. But I did see some videos and people talking about this saying you can't mount it, and it's correct, there's no mounting hardware. But if you're clever and creative, you can find a way to mount this device. So you get the 1 gigabit WAN port, the 4 gigabit LAN ports in here. Some people are upset that it's not multi-gigabit WAN port, but for most home internet connections, I have a gigabit connection. I think the gigabit connection is fine. And so you have an additional connectivity here where you can connect switches and other things that you want to your router here. You see you have 4 connection points on the back of this device. The performance, they have a 2.2 gigahertz quad core CPU inside of this thing, 5 gigahertz radio. And then for the Wi-Fi 5 and then for Wi-Fi 6, you get 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz radios. And you have lots of controls within the phone app itself to be able to check out all of these various things that it can do. The app is really well done. So the first screen, you can see I've got my main Alien router with the LCD, and I also have my mesh router. It's telling me at the top everything is great for 36 days and 18 hours. I've been utilizing this thing. It's going to instantly give me at the top a graphic to switch to throughput so I can see what's going on my network. I can also run an ISP test here. And this will do a test between the router that's actually plugged into the Comcast router itself. And then it's going to go do another test and tell me the speeds it's sending from the router to my actual device. So again, they've really done quite an amazing job on the app here. A lot of times you get apps from these hardware vendors and it's more painful than if you were to do a manual setup. But getting this thing up and running through the app and also using the app is really a joy here. Now, I never really get a full gigabit from Comcast. I never have. The best I've ever gotten from them speed-wise was like 800 megabits per second. So I'm getting about 647 now. More people in the area that are on it, the slower it gets. And it's sending about 364 to my device. Here we have another option, the DOS Geekdom guest that we can set up. And we can do multiple SIDs in here. We can set up multiple passwords so we can have multiple guest networks that people can attach to. This is a good option for you to go and set up any of your Internet of Things devices on that. And there's also the Teleport app there that we had access to as well. This is that built-in VPN service you get for free with this device, which is pretty cool. I can pause the internet on all my devices. I can see all of the devices that are connected and the bandwidth that they're using and how they're connected, and get specific information on my network, gateway address, all of that info right there. We've got some additional settings, and again, gives me a prompt at the top if I want to enable that remote management, which is free. I can do that. There's just a lot of stuff that you can go in here and play with, and you can go into each individual router itself as well. And you can do things like set the LCDs so they turn off at night, change the volume. You could do this on the physical router. It has the LCD itself as well. And you have night mode. So after 10 p.m. or whatever time I want to set, it'll turn off all the LEDs in the LCD. So if there's an area where it's in your bedroom or something like that and you don't want those bright lights, you can go and set that to when you want it to turn off. And again, I can set up multiple SIDs all over the place and do things more advanced on this. Bridge modes, IPv6s, VLAN IDs. I can set all of that through the app, which is really nice. They do a fantastic job on this app overall. And I have to say, I love what they've done here with this. Again, generally, apps are terrible. This one is not. So when we look at the pros and cons of this device, the first thing, of course, is the price. $379 is not bad, but only covers about 3,000, really less than 3,000 square foot, I would say. And then when you bundle this with the mesh, you can get up to 6,000 square foot, but then you're in the $700 to $800 range. So it's quite pricey, but then again, not as pricey as the Orbi, which is one of my favorites up to this point. I love the Netgear Orbi, but their pricing has really put them out of the market at $999 starting point. It's insane for their network. So I think from a pricing standpoint, they're really not unreasonable compared to what's out there and what you're getting. And this is a much better looking router than you're going to get with Netgear as well, if that's something that's important. Maybe your spouse or somebody doesn't want an ugly router sitting in your house, and this is a very nice looking piece of equipment, has very great styling, so will blend in with anybody's decor out there. You've got Wi-Fi 6 support, but you've only got the ability to support a gigabit connection. So again, is this future-proof? Most people haven't even gotten to a gigabit yet. So I don't think that's a huge worry for most people, but in the future, more people are going to get gigabit than multiple gigabit. And so if that's something that you have or that you're wanting to get in the future, this thing may not be future-proof in that way. I love the free built-in VPN. I love the LEDs, the very futuristic look that we've touched on. The touchscreen, yes, it's overkill, but it's cool overkill. And so I kind of dig that. It's got the guest network options, of course, very simple to set up. setting up other VLANs. You can create a bunch of different SIDs and things, but I would like a little more control in the VLAN arena in the future with this. Again, I don't think this is targeting the pro networking people out there. This is targeting individuals who want some more pro level features, but not all of the having to know all of the technical specifications of how all the stuff works and all the networks connect and all of that. It's very easy, simple to set up from that standpoint. When it comes to stability of this device, this is the one thing that I want to really hone in on, because a lot of people get these new routers and they can't stand them because they're fast or efficient, but you constantly have to reset them. They lose settings, they lose connection with your main Comcast router. And so these are real issues, or they're not even compatible to begin with, that you can deal with when you're setting up new router systems. I can tell you that this is one of the most stable router systems I've ever put in my home. I have not had to reset this thing a single time. It seems to be absolutely capable of recovering from power outages or any issues on its own flawlessly each and every time. I've never had to reboot it to start taking VoIP calls for work or anything else, which I've had to do that with other routers. Sometimes it's once every few months. Sometimes it's once a couple times a week, depending on the router. But some of the better ones like Netgear, Orbi and stuff, maybe every few months I'd have to reboot it. I've not had to reboot this thing not one time. So it is very, very stable, and I absolutely love the stability you get out of this device. I love the simplicity that you get out of this device. Again, I don't have to be a networking expert to use this. It works well with Comcast. It looks amazing. At the end of the day, do I recommend this device? If you fit those specifications that I've talked about, then 100% one of the best options out there for under $1,000. If you have nothing but money to spend, I haven't tried the new Netgear Orbi Wi-Fi 6, but I had their prior version, and I had such a good run with the Orbi mesh system that I can't imagine it's not absolutely spectacular. So if I just had nothing but money to burn, then I'd probably check out the Netgear Orbi Wi-Fi 6 first, and then maybe check out the Alien if that didn't work out. But otherwise, if money is something that's a concern, you're already spending a ton here, this is an amazing setup. Let me know in the comments below if you've checked out this Alien system. Also, something that pairs perfectly with this Alien system, Bitwarden. Bitwarden is the best password manager on the planet. They allow me to do these awesome videos like this because they sponsor this channel. In fact, they sponsor all of Destination Linux. If you follow me on Destination Linux podcast, Hardware Addicts podcast that I'm a part of, if you're a patron, a lot of the stuff that we get to do with equipment is thanks to people like Bitwarden and DigitalOcean who sponsor the network. But Bitwarden truly is the best password manager out there. They have third-party companies that go out there and audit them. They have amazing service for only $10 a year. Talk about a great value, and you get a gigabyte of storage. You get a two-factor authentication with things like Ubiquiti. It's just amazing. Go to bitwarden.com/DLN and check them out. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Alien. Is it too expensive? Did you get one and love it? Did you hate it? I love to hear from all of you in the community. And until next time, get out there and fill your brains.